If you identify as a highly sensitive person, or if you've ever been called too sensitive, then you might also be experiencing a lot more social issues than other people. Loneliness and isolation are not just things that we experience that are really uncomfortable. They actually promote higher stress levels in the body, and they make it harder for the body to detox every single day. This is something that the immune system naturally does. So your immune system becomes much, much weaker the less you socialize. This is, of course, detrimental to your health, detrimental to your quality of life. So socialization is actually really, really important in being a healthy and well-rounded human. But if you're someone who experiences chronic illness, neurodivergence, or a lot of sensitivity, then you might run into a lot more issues socializing than with other people. Than for other people. Most of the people who've experienced these types of differences don't also realize how much social trauma comes with being different than society. You will experience traumas that are so different from other people in your life and from other people your age, and from what you were told that you would experience. For example, my first experience with schmexual energy was non-consensual. So you can imagine that every single time I would go to a sleepover or talk to a friend, or anytime I would go on a date and someone would ask me, "What was your first kiss like?" You can imagine the PTSD and stress that would come up for me in my body, and the discomfort of how do I tell this person that that's not always an appropriate question to ask everyone? You become a little bit parentified. You realize that you are now holding this horror in a casual social situation. You know that the person did not ask this question in order to be absolutely horrified. So your only option is to either lie, to manage that person's emotions, to people please, to not be authentic in that moment. And here I'm talking about instances that we're consciously aware of. Can you imagine how many instances we experience on a day-to-day basis where we just don't speak up, we just hold our tongue because it's easier than ruffling some feathers and making ourselves feel more uncomfortable than we already do? If you are a highly sensitive person, or if you're healing, or if you're doing nervous system work or anything like that, you might find yourself enjoying isolation a lot more than having these kind of triggering and traumatic interactions with people that other people are not necessarily meaning for them to be triggering or traumatic. You might feel an increased level of stress from knowing that this is not the way that life was meant to be. The amount of discomfort that you feel in your mind, in your body, in your soul, as you go run errands, as you make plans with a friend or cancel the plans that you already made because you feel so uncomfortable, deep down you know that this is not what life was designed to be, but you don't know how to change it. All of this can be so incredibly frustrating and so draining, and it can make socializing or working with other people, working in a company, working on a team, creating plans together, it can make all of these things really, really challenging. And you could be experiencing more stress internally throughout this process. Experiencing stress internally, I like to think of this as kind of like running a marathon within your body without even moving your physical body. Whenever you run into your own stress response, whenever you notice that things might be a little bit harder for you than for other people, this does not mean that you are stuck in victimhood, and it is perfectly okay to honor yourself more deeply in those moments. So often throughout my life of being a highly sensitive person as well as a professional healer, people will tell me things like, "Oh wow, I can't believe you said that, you don't have boundaries, you are this way, you're that way, you're so weird, you're..." All of these things, what this is unsolicited feedback, and it's really, really painful. And this is often the way that neurotypical people, or people who haven't experienced trauma or sensitivity inducing experiences of any sort, they will often kind of approach a situation like this, and it causes a lot of stress. So I want you to know that if you have felt stressed out by people, if you feel stressed in social situations, if you feel like it's easier to isolate than to continuously put out all of this energy that it takes just to have a simple, casual interaction, I want you to know that you are not alone. I've helped thousands of people with this all over the world, and there are solutions for you. Being a highly sensitive person is not a death sentence, and it doesn't mean that you have to have a lower quality of life than everyone else. But it might mean living a little bit differently in order to meet your different needs. There's so many different ways that you can actually experience the benefits of connecting with other people, that you can experience deep, fulfilling intimacy without having to also spend that huge energetic cost as a sensitive person trying to socialize in the world. And I'm going to share with you a few of the ways that I recommend for my clients to do this and the ways that I personally do this. You're going to want to join a community. You can join a virtual community or an in-person community. I would recommend finding a community based on a shared interest. Maybe you join a Facebook puzzling group if you really, really like puzzling. Maybe you get a membership at your local yoga studio or your fitness pole studio. It doesn't have to be something that you would even expect for yourself to do, but just having an activity that you're doing around other people that are doing that same activity, what this does is it satisfies the part of our physiology that enjoys body doubling. Our bodies physically feel healthy around other bodies that are in our same frequency, that are doing similar things. So it's really, really important to not feel isolated in these social activities and in these communities by doing shared activities or shared interest activities. Whether you identify as a highly sensitive person or not, every single adult struggles with socializing and making friends sometimes. So often people connect over things like drinking or negative behaviors that aren't necessarily the healthiest for your mind, body, and soul. I personally don't drink, so I like to be a part of lots of different groups of people that have different interests. And what I also do is I do professional work and I read a lot of books in order to challenge my traumatized mindsets regarding other people. How can I accept people and not have expectations of them? How can I accept people in their shadow and in their light? How can I develop the boundaries that I need in order to get along well with other people? You can kind of think of yourself as a horse in a herd. It's completely okay to take time alone. It's completely okay to have a one-on-one time with your other horse bestie. And it's also really valuable to learn how to be one of the herd, to know where you like to be in the herd. Do you like to be in the middle? Do you like to be on the end? Do you like to be leading the herd? Do you like to be supporting the stragglers? All of this is part of self-mastery, and all of these things help you feel more confident. The more confident that you are in yourself, the easier it is to connect with people that are also highly sensitive or not. It is so, so valuable to do this work because it immediately increases your quality of life, it increases your health, it increases all of your holidays, all of your memories. It is so, so valuable to be living a life that you feel fulfilled on a soul level, and every single person deserves that.